welcome to the first episode of the Holden HZ Ute build. This is a project I've been working on for a while now. So we're in the later half of the build. How about I show you what we've done so far? So first things first, let's pop the bonnet and take a look at what's powering this thing. So this car came to me with the motor and trans already installed in it, and somebody had had a go at wiring it up. I have no idea how it was running as well as it was, but I've been tasked with the job of wiring it up properly and making sure this thing's safe to be on the road in that respect. So let's pop this. And there you have it. A 3.8 litre Ecotec V6 motor commonly found in the Holden Commodore. Not the LS that I think many of you were probably expecting to see, but this is what came with, and that's what I'm working with. So straight up, you'll see there's a bunch of different coloured wires going all over the place. That's stuff that I've installed. It's all loosely run at the moment so that I know where things have to go, and it's easy to move if they're in the wrong spot. But basically, it's where it needs to be, and the next steps will be to tape it up, put it in conduit, and secure it all properly. But let's take it in and have a bit closer look at what actually has been done. So we started by building this custom relay and fuse box. It still needs to be finished off. It's not fully mounted properly. It's quite loose there. As you can also see, it is not painted, but we needed somewhere to put everything so that we could have a spot to work from. Once that was put in, we were able to start running power wires, connecting them up to where they need to be. We've still got to put in some large fuses here to prevent any shorting of those main power wires. And then we run over to this side where we're still running the factory fuse box out of the Commodore. And yeah, as you can see, these here are the wires coming from the battery, powering that up. The engine itself is running its original loom. We've just cut and spliced into the areas that are actually needed to save time, money, and keep it simple. So that's the engine bay, fairly well sorted out. Obviously needs finishing up. But now follow me and let's take a look at the interior. Okay, and that's the interior. This side, still a huge mess. That side over there doesn't look too bad. Although a few hours ago, that was a very different story. So let's jump back to there and I'll show you what I had to do to make it look like that. So what I'm currently doing while sitting here down in the footwell is dealing with the ECU wiring, so just tidying it up. What we've done is they've cut the wires off. Most of them are for the auto transmission, and I'm just going through at the moment and de-pinning them to make it look a lot neater. Something like this, which I've done these two plugs already. And we're doing that by going through this ECU pin out, double checking the wires aren't necessary and removing them if they aren't, or finding out where I need to join them if they are required. But overall, it's just going to make it look a lot nicer, and no chance of any shorting or the likes happening here. So to remove the pins, what I'm doing is using an old tensioner pin that I have ground down. I have a bunch of different size, shapes and grinds. For these, you can buy them pre-made, kind of proper tools for them. However, I find they're a little bit flimsy, the ones I've got, so I stick with these. Plus they got the nice big ring on the end to get a good grip. Just stick it in the hole, push the pin out, and there we have it. Wire removed. Okay, and that's all done. She's a lot neater now, no bits just sticking out. So I'll plug that back in. Then I've got all these here just leftovers, so that's all the pins I've taken out. As you can see, I've left a decent amount of wire on the end of all of them. And that's so that I can keep them and use them if I ever need to repair, you know, a damaged wire that's been snapped off, burnt, anything like that. I have spares I can solder on or use the pins for. And yeah, I do that with a lot of things. The same if we ever have, you know, replace a section of loom or anything like that. I'll often cut the plugs off, give myself a bit decent length of wiring, and yeah, that's another plug, because a lot of the time you can't buy these plugs when they get damaged.
So it's good to have a source of second-hand ones that you can use. As today I just had to replace one on a wheel speed sensor that got broken. Yeah, so I got a box full of bits like that, and that's where these little babies will be going.
Got the ECU tidied up, it looks so much better. Don't mind this mess over here, we'll get to that shortly. But yeah, each individual connector's now nice, neat, run back. So what I'm going to do next is tape these individual lines just to keep them looking neat and tidy and also well out of the way. And then tackle this mess. Try and work out what it all is, if it's necessary. And a lot of these wires can be shortened, as there's no need for that kind of length when it basically goes from here to there. So taping up this bit of loom, I'm going to start from this end of the wiring and work towards the plug. My reason behind this is if we've ever got to untape the loom to get towards this end of the plug to do some pin outs or whatever it is, it's a lot easier to just be able to unwind the tape than to cut it back, and having the end of the tape at this end just makes that a lot simpler. And there we go. A little tip when taping is the overlap. So basically, as you wrap around, you'll stick your bit of tape on, out of the way, come over, and then we overlap by about 50%. That ensures good coverage, and basically it puts a double layer of tape over everything. There you have it, taped up. We'll go over this section again to hold it all together real nice once we sort this out. Okay, so you can see what I've done here is we've cut the wires as there's significantly extra length. And because they go through a separate grommet in the side of the car here, I've decided to put a plug in it rather than soldering them back up. So if it's ever got to be removed, disconnected, whatever, it makes it a lot easier. It's just a matter of disconnecting it, and if the plug won't fit through the hole itself, pop the pins out of the plug and pull it through. I'm just thinking, you know, a bit ahead, making it easier for anybody that may have to fix this thing in the future. Alright, now to do the same thing to these wires, and that'll be done. You may see there's only 2 wires on this end. There was actually a 3rd wire, which is this one down here. However, it didn't go anywhere. So for the moment, we're going to leave it just left out, and we'll connect it up if we find that it is actually necessary. So we've got a few wires here. I'm going to have to try and identify what they are, if they're necessary or not. Neaten this up a little bit more, and should be done for tape and be all ready to mount the ECU back up. And then this little section here will be finished. So the ECU loom is now done. All the wires that aren't necessary have been removed. The rest have been taped up, put into their right spots. And yeah, she's looking a lot neater than it was when we first started out. So pretty happy with that. Still got to deal with these wires going to the ignition switch and these couple that go to the glove box light. That's easy fix, no problem there. Once that's been done, we'll be able to mount the ECU back up under the dash here and reinstall the glove box. And that's another thing we can check off the list. So we're making some pretty good progress, but we still have quite a mess to go. If you look over here, that's the ignition switch side and the factory loom and fuse box that came with the car. And as you can see, that is one hell of a nightmare. So once the ECU and the glove box and everything is installed properly, it will be time to work on this dash to fill in these blank spots that we've got going on here and make sure everything's working properly. As at the moment, basically all we have is a battery light, the park brake light, and we do have temperature over here. There's no oil pressure, no tacho, no fuel gauge. Don't know if the speedo works or not. We'll definitely have to look at that as it will be required. And of course, once that's complete, we've still got to deal with that mess. But at the moment, that's running and everything, so it's not a big deal. Definitely needs to be done, as you don't want to be kicking those wires around and causing problems while driving, but it's not a priority as it's not affecting how the car is running currently. So first things first, let's get everything running. So that about brings us where I'm up to on this build so far. Everything from now on is obviously stuff I haven't done yet, so it'll be caught live and uploaded. So if you've enjoyed this so far, you want to see more, make sure you hit subscribe and also give this video a thumbs up. And I will catch you in the next video of the HZ.